Hello, everybody. This
Yo.
is the first episode of the Bhillin Bros. We're gonna be going over some Reddit, a Reddit thread about what is the creepiest, most blood-chilling thing you or someone you know have ever experienced. So we're gonna start this off with Noel telling us their most blood-chilling thing they've ever experienced.
I think the most blood-chilling thing I've ever experienced. See, I haven't had any, but I've dreamt some like really creepy shit before. Like I remember, I was really young, and like my first ever nightmare was just like I was going to school, and then at school, like my mom wanted to go talk to some teacher, and when she came back, like she was just dead, and then they Frankensteined her, so she was like just a zombie walking around, bro, and like that's your mom. So that was my mom.
That's
so
pretty
like
badass.
Dude, dude, I woke up crying. I remember it was like 4 a.m, and I went to my dad, and I was like, that's about it.
I think the most blood chilling thing I've ever experienced is probably like, I would say probably like ripping up in my arm and getting like surgery, and like as I was as I was going under, I remember just seeing like basically like a kaleidoscope like of the whole room, and like there was just so many images like that I saw in my eyes.
Was it like your life flashing before your eyes, or
it was literally like I was going into like some other dimension or some shit. It was so crazy. I think that's the most blood chilling thing that's ever happened to me. Like my arm was hanging off and shit, and
well, I don't know if this counts for me, but apparently I used to talk to ghosts as a kid.
Oh my god, bro.
Like I didn't know, but
my little brother, dude, yesterday he had just said that he like had a dream that like someone was like standing behind the back door, and that like he didn't know if it was real or not. And so when he woke up, he was like, "Dude, I thought I saw something." And I was like, "Dude, what the fuck?"
that's scary, bro.
All right, let's get into this. This is 3 years ago. Here we go. About 10 years ago, I took my dog out for a short walk. We live in a rundown but historic part of town old houses that are either beautifully maintained, abandoned, or generally going to shit. There is a good mix of people in that neighborhood. Anyway, walking the dog, I get about 3 or 4 houses down and stop at the corner while Pony sniffs some grass or whatever. I turn around and suddenly there's a man standing way too close to me. No idea where he came from. I'm usually very aware of my surroundings, and Pony hated strange men. I stumbled a few steps back. I immediately had this absolute bone-chilling sick feeling. He asked me, "Is that a pit bull?" And I replied, "Yes." Then he said, "Oh, she'll protect you." At this point, my body flooded with adrenaline, and I turned to run back to my house. I saw my mom standing on the porch, and I thought to yell to her. She had no reason to come back out on the porch. I honestly think she had a bad feeling. I don't know what good me yelling really did, but all I could think to do, like, "Hey, look, I'm over here." I've never had such a flight response before since that encounter.
So just the dude came behind her, bro?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I've never really had an experience like that.
What would you do in that situation?
I don't know. I'd feel like, I don't know. I'd have to swing, bro. Like, honestly, like.
Or would that be your first instinct? Like, genuinely just.
Nah, I'd back up probably. And if he said some shit like that, maybe I would swing, but I don't know. Like, I'd have to assess the situation first, but.
Like, do you think you're, like, in the shape to run away from a person who's trying to kidnap you, or, like.
If they were trying to kidnap me and I see them, bro, I'm fucking running. Like, if like a van pulls up next to me and opens their like door, like I'm fucking out. Like, I'm not gonna be scared or anything.
See, like I'm not in the shape to run, so I think like my instinct was just to be like yell and then like stab if I can, and then if like all else fails, just like play dead. If that makes sense.
Bro, I don't even know. Like,
bro.
I feel like I would just
That's weird though. Like, why just go up to her? You know?
Yeah, that was definitely weird. I don't know. That one wasn't that bone chilling. Yeah, that was definitely a dude happening. But yeah, let's go on. When I was about 6 or 7, we had this neighbor that would regularly try to invite me over for cake and candy. Fuck, that's us. Or to play with the dogs he owned. My parents didn't trust him, so of course, invites were declined. Years later, we learned that he regularly raped his 12-year-old stepdaughter and got her pregnant. When he went to trial, it was revealed that there were 4 other young girls in his past that he had abused. The guy used to decorate his house like a haunted mansion every Halloween, and kids would go crazy for it. I'm so glad that my parents wouldn't allow me to go there.
Dude,
That's fucking sus, creepy, bro. That's fucking crazy. I would not fuck with that shit.
The chair, bro. He deserves the chair.
Bro, that's fucking wild.
Wait, but now I have questions. Like, did he make the haunted house and people, like, knew that? You think? Knew that he was, like, very, very shady?
Dude, I don't know. Like, even if he's, like, if he's trying to invite, like, a girl without, like, her parents knowing or some shit, that's kind of still, like...
Michael Jackson, bro.
Yeah.
That's what he did, bro.
I would, like, that's some shit that's, like, I don't really... I wouldn't trust that, like, myself. Yeah, that's fucking crazy. I would never... I don't know, that's... Oh, let's go. This is about our age. Let's see. When I was 16, my parents went out of town for a weekend. It was actually pretty sweet, but I got to be king of the castle for the weekend. So I get home that Friday night and just dick around, internet, video games, etc., and start watching TV around dusk. The way our living room was set up was that there was a set of glass doors right next to the television that looked out to the back porch backyard. The backyard was surrounded by ivy that grew on a hill around a 45-degree angle. So I'm just mindlessly channel surfing and I see some movement outside. At first I dismiss it thinking it's a bird or a neighborhood cat or something, but then I notice that whatever is moving is way bigger than a bird or a cat. I go out and put my face near the glass and stare into the backyard, and there's some dude just crouching in the ivy looking into the house. Our eyes meet and he has somewhat of an oh shit moment and bolts out of the yard. Scared the shit out of me. Dude, that's fucking crazy too. That's
watching you,
honestly,
bro?
that's the shit that I feel like I'd honestly be the most scared about. Like being like stalked or something.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that shit would fuck me up really hard. Like I would probably have like trauma from that shit, like mental trauma.
Cause like, dude, man, it's like somebody watching you like nonstop and you don't even know about it.
Bro, or it's like just someone who like keeps following you and you don't know why or what they're gonna do. Yeah. Or like, what am I supposed to do if a person keeps following? Like, I'll fucking square up. But imagine like,
I don't think in that case squaring up is like
bro,
the case.
I don't even know. Like that's fucking sus. Or like, also that shit like being home alone or like one of my siblings being home alone.
Yeah, I feel like I can handle myself being home alone, but like knowing that my little sister is home by herself, like.
Yeah, or it's scary. Like cause I know like sometimes my little brother will stay and he'll be with like my grandpa, and that's just genuinely like, hold up, like should I really be out here, like, or should I stay home, like, cause sometimes like I get really paranoid for some reason.
No, yeah,
you know what I mean?
What you mean. Yeah, it's like that big brother instinct.
Yeah, I don't know, like it's just like like I feel bad like going out right now.
You just have to teach your little brother how to fight, bro.
Yeah, or like I don't even know, dude. Like sometimes I just like I feel kind of like sus about that shit.
That's scary, bro.
Yeah, that is definitely scary.
I think I would rather be home alone by myself and have someone stalk the house than have my little sister.
Yeah, and like not know what to do.
Yeah. So like I would have handled that situation better.
Oh, here we go. You have a stalker one. Here we go.
Oh,
fuck. All right, let's go. My mom had a stalker for years. She was maybe in her early 30s. I was about 3 and my brother was around 1 when this started. My dad would leave for work in the morning, and as soon as he was gone, the calls would start coming in. She'd answer the phone and some guy would be saying all this horribly sadistic and sexual things about what he wanted to do to my mom. She was beyond frightened and didn't know what to do. Sometimes the caller would describe what she was wearing at that very minute or describe what she was doing. My parents were struggling financially, so they couldn't just up and move, but my mom started spending more and more time at my dad's mother's house when she was away. The cops got involved, but they couldn't trace the call. Finally, they were able to save up enough money to move. I was about 6 by this time. The phone number was changed and unlisted in the phone book. This is around 1988 when everyone still used landlines. My mom never got another scary phone call, but she had nightmares about it for years. When I was little, I remember going into her bedroom in the morning and she would be sobbing into her pillow. I didn't understand at the point, but she explained later in life that she'd wake up from a nightmare and just shake and cry. A couple months after we had moved, the cops informed us they finally caught the guy. It was our next door neighbor's 19-year-old son. He had been in the military but was discharged due to severe mental illness. I guess he was put into some sort of special security home that specializes in mental health. The lead investigator said that the son was obsessed with my mother, and they found a box in his room full of a bunch of photographs candidly taken of her when she was out in the garden or playing with us in the yard.
Oh, dude.
It chills me to the bone when I think about it now. Anything could have happened to my mother when my dad was at work and I'd be too young to help her. Dude, that's fucking crazy. That's definitely scary.
No,
that's bro. Not. That sounds like a fucking movie, bro. Like that doesn't even.
I'm pretty sure that is a scene. That's like a movie. What's it called? Oh. There's that one movie where it's like a girl goes to like a beach house or like this whole mansion, and she just gets one call. She's like a babysitter, and she's taking care of 2 kids, but the 2 kids like are upstairs and they're asleep. And so the whole time she gets a call, and they're like talking to her about like what they want to do to her and stuff, and she can't. At the end of the day, like there's no kids in the upstairs, I think, or like the kids are like they wake up, I think, and like at the end of the movie she just like kills the dude, but like nah, bro. Bro, that sounds like every suspense movie ever, dude.
Yeah, I mean, if that shit really happened, I'm just saying, like, that's.
Dude, I feel so bad for the mom. Like, she has to live with that, dude.
Nah, it's also like, that's fucking crazy, bro. Like, imagine a dude like actually like a dude like calling you, and you don't know where he's like at, and he's like, I can see you and shit. Like, I want to do something with you, and you're like literally alone and shit. Like, imagine, and when you're with your kids and shit. Like, dude, I would have like, I'd be fucking, I'd be out of that bitch. No cap.
That's scary, bro.
That's definitely scary, bro. Like,
I feel like it's more scary in the child's position, like from her perspective, like knowing that you can't do anything. Like, yeah. Imagine if somebody was doing that to your little brother.
Yeah, that'd be fucking scary. Bro. I would not fuck with that. All right, here we go. Next one. I was 8 and woke up to an explosion of dog barks and screams coming from our backyard. Then the screams trailing down the street. We get outside and my dog is chewing on a bloody shoe and a bit of gym shorts were hanging off the backyard fence. We call the cops to investigate. From the footprints, they could see the guy tried every window but with my dog following. And when he got to mine, my dog went full attack mode. The guy was picked up that night on a unrelated charge, but they put 2 and 2 together later and charged him. My dogs allowed them to collect the gym shorts, but that shoe was his. He was happy and let the cops pay him as much as they liked. Animal control the next day when they drew a little blood for a rabies test that the shoe was his. I don't understand that. That was
so somebody dramatic. Just ran through their backyard.
Yeah, somebody was in their backyard trying to get in.
I feel like that doesn't sound as scary.
Yeah,
like, as you read it, but like in the moment,
definitely, I'd be fucking scary. Bro. Yeah, that one, it was just ungrammatical. It was ungrammatical and shit. It was grammatically correct, but whatever. Let's see this one. I was home for the summer from college, and my mother and brother had just headed out for a few day trip to visit colleges. This meant I was to take care of my father. Dad, something was clearly wrong, but we couldn't tell what. He had Parkinson's, but it was more than that. But we figured I could handle him. That's kind of weird already.
What's Parkinson's, bro?
Parkinson's, bro? It's like that shit that makes you shake, and it's like you have like mental, like a brain damage or something. Okay. Yeah. Finally, Dad hangs up his. Oh, this is when I came to realize something in his broken mind hated me with a passion. He wouldn't listen to anything I said. And I admit I was pissed off, so I wasn't doing a terrific job, but even simple things like getting him food was an hour-long ordeal that ended with us shouting. This last time I called Mom on the house phone because at least he listened to her. I gave him one phone and I was on another, yelling at each other through it even though we were 5 feet apart. Poor Mom trying to referee from a few hundred miles away. Finally, Dad hangs up his phone and hands it to me. Oh, he's done, thank God, I think. But then he tries to take the still active phone from my hands, which I refuse, and that's when it happens. It gives me chills to this day. A change came over him. It was subtle, but he stood slightly straighter. It was like for a moment someone else was in his body. He stared at me in the most calm, cold voice I ever heard. Said, I'm gonna kill you. There was no emotion behind it. There was no energy. He said it as a fact. I was stunned. Mom heard it over the phone. As I stood there paralyzed, her voice broke through in a whisper. Key, run. I threw the phone at Dad, rounded the corner and grabbed my keys. My car screamed out of the driveway. It was pure animal instinct for me at that point. I had to run because if I stayed there, Dad didn't really remember what happened. He was confused as to why I was suddenly gone. I have no idea what went on in his head at that moment, but I stared into something back there.
That's...
Yeah.
I feel like that's one of my biggest fears too. Not getting the getting attacked part by somebody, but like going crazy and thinking that like you're normal and like everybody else knows you're crazy but you, bro.
Oh, that is pretty crazy.
Yeah,
that's fucking crazy, dude. I know, like some shit, like one of the things also is just going fucking crazy, you know, like
in general.
That's like crazy as shit. Like, for example, like if I were to go crazy and like, and I kind of like just like lost that shit and like, cause like, how do you even comprehend like being crazy or like being like mentally
I don't think you
gone.
know that you're
crazy,
or like, bro. I think like people who are,
but I feel like if you go through that shit, like you'll start like seeing shit that you necessarily like you'll basically forget your whole past, like because you're like so in like that mental illness or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I feel like I'll be trapped,
like dementia and shit.
Yeah,
like
or like or I don't even know how the fuck would you feel that, because I know, you know, there's this kid at school, and he said that his grandpa sometimes is like sitting down and like he's in the living room and that kid's like sitting down with him and he's like talking to him, and then all of a sudden he'll be like, oh, how are you, like I haven't seen you in a while or some shit.
Nah, dude.
Like to no one. And dude, he says that like he thinks of like the past, like because he has like Alzheimer's or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And that he'll think of like the past and think he's in that moment.
Nah, dude, living like that, like basically having your life in a loop.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. Nah,
dude, that's scary,
bro. Or like he'll say that his grandpa will like look at him and be like say a different name. Okay. Like he'll be like, oh, hey Daniel, like can you pull out your textbook today? What? Like because he was a teacher.
Because he was a teacher. And so he was just called.
But imagine like he would like, you just say shit that no one's there and you're like, what the fuck? Scary, bro. Imagine someone just saying that shit to you. Like my grandpa, imagine, fuck that.
No, dude, I feel like it's scary. You're like having
like being dementia. In that.
Yeah, because like, bro, in your mind you're living like life, but to somebody else they're like, yeah, nah, he's batshit crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
and like whatever you say has no validity whatsoever, and even though you have like genuine like emotions and thought processes, does that make sense? Is that a word?
Yeah, bro? Dude.
Everybody else is like, nah.
Dude, that's definitely fucking scary. I'd fucking lose that shit. It's alright here. This is the last one, and then we'll start another podcast. Not necessarily paranormal, but this was something that both creeped me out quite thoroughly and chilled my blood to ice water. I was working at a crematory funeral home at the time. Alright, that's fucking... That's that's like, bro, who the fuck does that? Alright, I just picked up the body of a girl my age, alright, from the county coroner's office, and was going through the check-in procedure, which consisted of a lot of paperwork, fingerprints, documentation of belongings, etc. Now, when a body comes to us from the coroner, it's typically an unexpected death that occurred under questionable circumstances. This particular one, I could tell by simply looking at her, was a drug overdose. She had obvious injection sites in her arms, thighs, one on her foot, and what appeared to be needle marks all over her lower abdomen. Like, it looked like this chick went to fucking town stabbing herself in the belly. This was strange to me because I know that isn't a typical place to inject drugs, especially because this girl was a bit on the large side. Nor is it usually a place where the pathologist will draw fluids in a case like this. Anyways, I shrugged it off and began to document her personal items, which come to us zipped up in the body bag in a black trash bag. Usually the coroner's office provides a detailed list of belongings for liability reasons. This case came with no such list, so it surprised me to see that she did indeed have a property bag with her, tucked under her leg. I tore the bag open and out flopped the fully developed, completely green, dead baby. What the fuck?
Oh,
with a very smushed head. You can imagine my shock opening the bag, expecting to find shoes, clothes, maybe a wallet, instead a tiny human popping out. Long story short, the family did not know, and telling them was horrifying in and of itself. There's absolutely no sort of documentation on this fully developed human, and the coroner was just as shocked as we were. Some jackass autopsy tech had just stuffed the baby in a bag in hopes of us not finding and cremating it to save themselves some time on paperwork and dealing with an already distraught family. An autopsy was done on the baby. Family and friends were questioned, the whole 9 yards. Later, a friend of the deceased disclosed that she was the only one who the girl had told about being pregnant and her plans to try and give herself a late-stage abortion by injecting heroin straight into her room. Pretty fucked. Needless to say, I was always hesitant when opening property bags in fear of finding another dead green infant, as opposed to paranoid. Bro, that's some crazy shit. Just some, like, that is not sound even real. Like, how could you do that, dude? Like, try to abort yourself with heroin?
Oh my.
Bro, that's fucking... I feel like I'd have to find context for this, like, story for me to find it true. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's fucking crazy.
Like, where's the dad? Like, how does nobody know that you're pregnant that late?
Or also, like... Dude, I just think that's a crazy story. Like, how does that even happen? Like, if it's only one person and, like... Why would the actual, like, coroner autopsy dude, like...
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Just throw the baby.
Yeah, why would he do that? Like, why wouldn't he have made any documentation? Like...
Was the baby born? Did it say if the baby was born?
Well, it said the baby was, like, just, like... Well, if she, like, died, then the baby must have... Yeah, the baby must have died. But he said it was green, first of all. I don't know, dude. Like, that's kind of... That one's the only one that's kind of, like, I don't know. It is definitely a fucking scary fucking thought, but... I don't know. That one's kind of like, what the fuck?
There's really no words, bro.
Yeah,
because that's like...
That's just...
But
like,
just
crazy.
in what context? Like, in what situation?
In what year was this happen? Like,
no, but like, not even that. Like, in what context or what situation do you have to be where the only way out of it would be to inject heroin to your fetus, bro?
Yeah, bro. Or like, not even trying to go to like, I don't know, or like, unless they're like in Alabama or some shit. Like, I don't even know, dude.
Because at that point, like, even putting it up to adoption would be a better. But like, heroin to the stomach, dude?
That's fucking crazy, dude. How much money would you have to fucking fulfill that, first of all? Like, you would need a bat shit ton of fucking heroin.
Yeah.
Like, right? Like, and what was she thinking? I don't know. I'm kind of skeptic of that one, honestly. It is definitely scary, but...
I feel like I have to go more into the...
Yeah, I have to find, like, a real thing or something, because, like, really, a professional who knows how to open up a body.
That's what I was saying. Just throws the
baby. Just throws the baby in a trash bag, right?
But like, then again, that's how fucked up the system is, bro.
I don't know. Well, that's fucking crazy. Alright, guys. Well, this concludes our podcast, Bhillin Bros. And we're signing off. I'm Erick Grajeda.
I'm Noel Lopez.
And see you later.